Greetings, everyone. I'm Luke Bryan Smith, and welcome to Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved. Hope everybody's doing well. Wait, I know everybody's doing well. I have faith everybody's doing well, and everything is unfolding perfectly. I'm excited yet again because you know why I'm excited yet again. If you've been watching me, you already know why I'm excited. Because why? I have another extraordinary person to talk to. And I love talking to people from around the world. And today is no exception. I have Dr. Harmony. And wait, before she tells you anything about herself, I'm going to tell you a bit about her. So listen up. You don't want to miss any of this. So Dr. Harmony is a twin flame, ascension expert, and an alchemist of love, creating universal heart oneness. She is the creator of Awaken Your Soul Blueprint and Reprogram Your Childhood Wounds programs, along with the ReBoot Your Twin Soul Blueprint, a 3-step coaching program that has helped thousands of twin flames, starseeds, and lightworkers around the globe face fears, find freedom, and glow forward. I like that, on fire, so they can reunite and experience real love. She also facilitates her Awaken Your Love Within VIP and group retreats designed to de-armor your body, mind, heart, and soul with the use of tantric techniques. Now, there's a lot here, but I'll cut to the end. It is her mission to share her wisdom and assist others in discovering their soul's purpose as they transform from the dark night of the soul through the ascension process, connecting to one's higher self. Wow. There's more in the middle, but you know what? We're going to get to that. How are you doing, Dr. Harmony?
I'm doing fabulous, Luke. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm so excited to be here, and I love your enthusiasm, and I can't wait to dive into wherever we're headed.
Yes, I appreciate you being here. I'm a firm believer that time is one of our greatest assets, and for you to choose to share some of your time, precious time, with me here, I'm just humbled and so appreciative. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So let's just dive right into it. You know what? What speaks to me right now is Dr. Harmony is a twin flame ascension expert. For those of us that don't know, what is twin flame?
Okay, that's the infamous question.
Yes.
It's an intense experience. So what most people think of as a twin flame, and they think of it as that soul person that their soul's in search of, and think of it as a soulmate. And we have many soulmates. We have soulmates that could be friends and family, people that we spend many and multiple lives with that we know very closely. And those can be pretty much the harmonious idea that we think of as we're going to have a picket fence and children and live that perfect life. But when you meet your twin flame, you meet the most resistant side of yourself. And that is your mirrored reflection of who's going to help show you your weaknesses, your darkness, your wounds to heal.
Wow.
And they help you align with the highest version of you and come into the oneness of yourself. And there's a lot of misconception about the twin flame concept out there today, because what we've known as twin flames to be as to when you finally come into, like, say, a lifetime and incarnate together, we've known it to be that you're ready to reunite and that you're going to work through all this karma and harmonize all these things in between you and find balance within yourself. And then you're going to kind of go off like the soulmate and live happily ever after. But in this time, space, and era, there's more twin flames that are coming together and reunited than the history of time. And it's used to be very rare, but we're in a convergence of time here for a higher consciousness of the planet. Right. And so the twin flame dynamic is a very energetic connection that ignites your soul blueprint and wakes you up and helps you remember who you are, so that you can go through that ascension process that the whole world's going through the ascension process, but it activates, it accelerates your process.
Right.
And it's very much an energetic connection that comes down to your soul's activation, and it creates like a spark and an igniting force that bonds together as you become magnets with each other. And it's about finding the balance within your masculine and feminine energies, and then them doing the same. And then you coming together in a place that does have an energetic force that becomes bigger than the two of you.
Right.
As we go through this process and this shift, and the more twin flames than ever in history of time, it becomes on this bandwidth. And the bandwidth kind of says, well, there's a lot of us that are doing a lot of soul work that's deep and karma, and the twin flame dynamic tends to come into this bubble up phase, and then you go into this push pull purge phase, which is a karmic release within yourself. So there's this runner chaser aspect, and to bring that together, two souls have to be very harmonic within themselves to bring this together. They have to really find a lot of balance and be willing to take responsibility and work on the soul's evolution to be your best version of you. And I'm always saying, if you want the ultimate relationship, that starts with you.
Right.
And so most people run from this because it's so deep, it's so intense, that it not only is it, great love, but it shines light on your shadows that you don't want to see, right. You don't want to feel, you don't want to face. Right. And so that's what happens, is people get scared of that. They don't want to see, they will see in the other person what it is they don't want to see in themselves.
Right.
And then they don't want to work on that. Yeah. Right. So basically it creates this runner chaser phase until all of that comes together and released. But it can get confusing now because we're all going up in ascension. We're all elevating our vibration. And so we can have catalysts that comes through, I call ascension teachers, that can come through and help awaken us and go up this ladder of this ascension. And it can feel and mimic like a twin flame dynamic as well. And so it can be confusing more than ever. However, the soul really kind of knows, the soul can feel like that energetic signature. You can feel it. But as we all evolve and as we kind of like work through this process, some twin flames will reunite in this era and some won't, because we're ushering in the new concept of relationships, and that's redefining that. And the old templates of relationships are no longer working from a standpoint of jealousy and mistrust and not having unconditional love. There's so many expectations and conditions we put on people. So when we create this twin flame dynamic, it really comes from within the unification of yourself, the union of yourself, and the union of you with God. And in that space, when you connect to that, you align with true love, and your twin flame will show up and be in alignment with you. And then the goal is they become your highest version of you to help you reach the highest mastery of you, to align with the highest purpose, either individually and mission together.
Wow. Absolutely.
And that's just scratching the surface.
Wow. I know. I can understand. But you know what? The way that you described that, it really resonated with me. Just key points in there with mirroring ourselves, and just I got a lot out of that. I mean, and it's beautiful, and I hope those that are listening do understand exactly what you're saying. And I'm a firm believer as it goes, I'm not sure who said that, but when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So maybe, and you'll see where I'm going with this, maybe a few years ago, all that what you just said would have sounded like gibberish to me. It wouldn't have, but now it's, it sounds like, wow, yes, I understand. And I'm excited because I do understand what you're saying. And that's beautiful. And I never knew that in regard. I've seen that term twin flames, but I've never heard it, described and articulated and broken down the way that you just did. And I appreciate you for doing that. And I
Yes.
hope I know everybody here will appreciate that. So thank you very much,
Yeah.
Dr.
And in a
Hart.
nutshell, I want to add that it's really a self-love revolution that we're creating in humanity right now.
Right. You know what? And I just feel that. I feel that because even me, you know, just knowing where I was, not saying was just terrible person, because I believe I'm a firm believer that we all went through what we're supposed to get to where we are now and to get to where we're going. But just to know that how I was before in regards to just the person I was in regards to thought and just not connecting with my soul and doing what I thought that other people wanted me to do and how I was programmed to be, and to where I am now is it lets me know there's something going on. Mm-hmm. Because when I look at myself now and the people that I attract, mm-hmm. and the circumstances that I attract, and just the conversations that I engage in now, I'm like, yes, there's something very divine, mm-hmm. Going on right now, because yes, it is. There's no coincidences. There's no doubt at all that, wow. And
too many people are waking up.
Right.
It's too obvious.
And it's just, you know, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just amazing that how I feel right now and just where I am right now. When sometimes I have to just look at, is this you? And like, yeah, this is you. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. So Dr. Harmony. Okay. So, and like I told you, like I said before, I really love that name. So you're the creator of Awaken Your Soul Blueprint, reprogramming your childhood wounds. We'll stop right there. Okay. And then along with the ReBoot Your Twin blueprints. I don't want to throw too much out there, but can you elaborate on these, and what inspired you to create Awaken Your Soul Blueprint, reprogram your childhood, and reboot your twin soul blueprint? I mean, that's enough right there to go on. What inspired you to do these, and what are they about?
Okay. Very good question. So let's start with the reboot your twin soul blueprint. And let's just remove the word twin out of it, because twin's the reflection of you and what your twin can teach you. And so I just kind of threw that in with being my tribe. But everyone could really withstand a reboot of their soul, right? We're no different than any operating system of any computer that gets overloaded and has things we need to clear out in order to upgrade, in order to reset and become somebody new, is what we're doing through this ascension process. And if we don't clear the space for and raise that vibration, then it's hard to create and open up to reclaim a higher version of ourselves in this process. So it was my own personal experience that I went through for the Awaken Your Twin Soul Blueprint that became a program that I created based on some experiences I experienced, but also with another awakening with a twin flame catalyst that was a friend of mine, a chiropractic friend, with my background being chiropractic. And we had went to chiropractic school together, and he had been my mentor and certain things, I'd been his and others. And so we were kind of paralleling this twin flame concept for a long time before we ever kind of like woke up to that term. And I must say, you don't always wake up to that words until you're ready to understand more.
Right. There you go. I couldn't have said it better. That's part of what I was trying to articulate earlier, is that it's amazing when what you were describing earlier, that's what I was saying. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have understood it right. A couple of years ago, but now it sounds familiar, and it sounds I'm comfortable with listening to you know what I'm saying? So yes, up to more waking up, so it doesn't sound like what is this? What are you talking about? It sounds like, okay, yes, I know, I understand.
Yeah,
I get it.
Beautiful. Thank you. So I worked with this friend of mine. We were both going through a lot of challenges at the same time. And I had been more on the energetic side of my chiropractic background into quantum physics and healing. And while he was an acupuncturist as well, he did a lot more of the business stuff. We kind of exchanged information and was each other's, again, mentors for 20 something years until we woke up to this concept of twin flames that came before us in our own work together. And so when I was working with him and some things he was going through, I basically put him through this 12-session program, and he was my first protege for this program, basically. And it radically changed his life. And next thing you know, I'm in what I call twin flame Candyland, where twin flames started showing up like all over the place once I kind of woke up to it and saw what was happening. And I instantly saw that these people needed what I had to offer. And so I just went to work and created what was needed in front of me. And next thing I know, there was this blueprint that was being used over and over and over with, radical transformation in people's lives. And so I launched out there then with, realizing, okay, this is my soul calling. And so I went bigger and kind of, announced that's who I am, what I do, who I help, and how I can help you. And next thing you know, I write a book called Twin Flame Code Breaker about my experience, and also about more deep and more depths of what twin flames are and connection. And then
what's the name of that book again? Sorry.
Twin Flame Code Breaker.
Twin Flame Code Breaker. Go get it, everybody. It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Mm-hmm.
Go get it.
Yes.
Twin Flame Code Breaker.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, it's
Proceed.
very good, very inspirational. I poured my heart and soul into that book. It literally is, when I said that book launched, my soul launched to the stratosphere.
Right.
And when I finished that book, this is off topic, but when I finished that book, I cried for 5 straight days and didn't speak to a soul, because I knew my life would never be the same again.
Same. Wow.
I knew that what I birthed in that had its own agenda.
Right.
And I knew that I was just going for the ride.
Right.
And
right.
That,
you were allowing.
Yeah. Yeah. Giving
Flow,
birth to
like
that, right? To be in the vessel.
Yeah. Right.
And so that's kind of what I did too with the program. But then through this whole process, then I started working with people all over the world, which I could see as a chiropractor 25 years ago. I just didn't know how it was going to happen. Right. And so in that process, then I started intentionally putting the effort into my program, creating the program and refining the program. And next thing you know, I'm having thousands of people all over the world with this program. And it really just kind of birthed itself again, like the book did. And through that process, then as I evolve and grow, and who comes to me and who needs help, basically, I'm always capturing, like what I call being a scientist background, is I capture these little scientific concepts, ideas, information, and then I can put it together in such a formula that, with my scientific brain, that I merge it with the spirituality, and then I infuse it within the work that I put out there. And so in that, then we're energetic beings, but there's a collective energy going on here.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I started seeing as these people would show up to me, like one after the other, and they would have same stories, same information.
Right.
And they're not talking, right? And this started 6 years ago. And so when it started, and I was just so amazed that here I thought I was the only person going through this. And next thing you know, all these people are going through this awakening and being like, because even as an energy healer for 20 something years, and energetic connection and spiritual advisor and all these things that I have done, when twin flame crossed my path, I was like asking all of my spiritual friends, have you heard of this word? Because I had never heard of it.
Right.
And it shocked me. And so anyway, I just became available and opened up my heart and my life as, an open book, literally, to share and put my pain that I've experienced through failed relationships and failed business partnerships, and all these things that I've experienced that have been very dramatic and impactful for most of my entire life.
Right.
I've learned how to alchemize that and transform that pain. And most importantly, put that pain into a purpose. And as I put that pain into a purpose, that becomes the gift back to me. And so I just know when to show up. And along the way, I started noticing that, all these childhood wounds were popping up in everyone. Right. And I'm like, oh, okay. I started seeing it's like, it's time to create another program. Now we need a program to help reprogram all these patterns.
And that's how, wow.
That's how that one birthed.
Let me, can I put you on pause just for 1 second? It's amazing. That's all I got to say. And you're going to see why I'm saying this. Because you mentioned 6 years ago. And that's exactly when I started my so-called transformation. That's where I felt that I hit a point in my life where I started really seeking answers 6 years ago. So you saying that, you already know. It's no coincidence. And then some of the things that you were talking about, failed relationships. I felt at the time, I failed at being a father to, some of my kids and just all kinds of things. And what I start doing, and we'll get right back to you because this is about you, but I just have to share this with you.
Absolutely.
Is I started, I got to a point where I stopped blaming, okay, and seeking outside. I started telling myself, what's the common denominator in all this that's going on that continues to happen and replay? Me. So I got to figure out something within here. Like I'm not something, I need to connect, some kind of way. I need to get out of my own way. And that's when my transformation happened. And so that's what I'm saying. Everything that you're talking about right now, it sounds soothing and it sounds like normal conversation to me. And it's just, that's what I'm saying.
Welcome home, right?
Wow. And wow. So that's what I just had to point that out, that's 6 years ago that you connected with other people things were happening around that time. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Like it was around 2015,
Yeah. Well, right? I'll tell you when it started was in 2012.
Okay.
And that was when the Mayan calendar ended on December 21st of 2012, that became the marking, defining moment of a new beginning, a new earth, a new world, a new era, the golden age of the age of Aquarius.
Right.
Where in that universal timeline, we shifted from age of Pisces to age of Aquarius. Which each is like 2,150 years.
Right.
So you really break that down from the apex of that, the convergence is about 50 years leading up to 2012 and about 50 years after, as we roll through and flip from an old paradigm, very masculine, hard struggles into peace, love, harmony. That song Age of Aquarius by Vinci, that whole concept.
No, I know that song. Yes. Yeah.
Femininity. See, we're bringing in this femininity.
Right.
And we're recoding that into the earth plane, and we're embodying that. We're waking up to it. And, the whole twin flame twin flame connection and the energy of that within is about also shifting, for instance, say with me and my background with chiropractic and just my personality has always been very masculine and very hard and very driven and very, go through all these struggles. And I've had to learn through this process to shift into my feminine side. And I even said 6 years ago, awakening to this, that this is going to be a wild ride because I'm like a wild horse and I have a very strong spirit and I'm not ready to have somebody put some saddle on me. Like I'm ready to.
I get it. And you know what, just to elaborate on that too. My wife is that way too. She taps into I might not describe it right or say it right or articulate it right, but very, very strong masculine. She worked for law enforcement, so you can imagine. So So exactly like what you're talking about.
So in this process, like we're all coming into this balance within ourselves of like more feminine energy, and twin flames are technically the ushers of this convergence through the redefining relationships with yourself and then with partners and people. And so there's technically 3 waves of twin flames. And I don't know if people out there have ever heard of Dolores Cannon and what's called the 3 waves of volunteers that help this ascension process we're going through. But it technically boils down to the twin flames coming together in these 3 different timelines so that we're shifting this energy in this portal of energy.
Okay.
So, yes.
What's her name? Dolores Cannon?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
1 second.
yeah, no problem. I'll get a drink too.
Sorry about that. Got a tickle my throat. Julian made me something really spicy earlier.
Oh,
and that
wow.
spicy just kicked in my throat.
No, take your time. Take your time. So yes, that's everything that you've been just wow, it's flowing so well. And it just I just so love listening and learning, and even things that within the dialogue in the conversation that we're having. It's just inspiring, and some of it's familiar, and I mean, it's just beautiful. I love having these type of conversations, and that's one of the main reasons why I was inspired to create this platform right here, because I said, you know what, I love talking to people, and I'm the type of person that even when I'm out and about somewhere, I'll strike up conversations with people just in the grocery store, anywhere. I just do. That's just the way I am. And sometimes, if people aren't used to that, they'll look at me like, what's this guy's angle? What is he trying to get? Like, no, nothing. It's just how I am,
That's
and
awesome.
And then they'll eventually get comfortable, like, oh, okay, he just really enjoys talking, or he really is concerned about how my day was, and, interested in, a little bit of my story, whatever we talk about right then in aisle 5 of, whatever. But yeah, it's intriguing to me. I love learning. I love meeting people. I love talking to people, especially people that are waking up, because it's, so it's beautiful. So where were you?
Well, one of the things I was saying, as we shift through this timeline, we're clearing our past, but we're also like releasing karma in that. We're letting go of all the things of the programs and the conditions and the bloodlines in order to heal the generational familial belief systems, really, that's been projected upon us.
I get it.
And so the key in that, though, is we chose our parents. And why did we choose our parents?
Yes. So, why?
Well, actually, in my Reprogram Your Childhood Wounds online course, I have a first module that's free. I did send you the link to this that you can share.
Okay.
And in that first module, it will share with you information and an exercise you can do to realize the pattern of what you chose to learn from your parents, and how that lesson that you chose to learn links to every relationship that you experience.
Wow.
And so if you do not learn what it is you came here to learn from your parents, and you're blaming outside of yourself, and you're not seeing them as your reflection and what they're teaching you,
right,
then you can't, that pattern that you've created with them, you cannot repattern that in order to change the patterns of all your relationships, because your parents represent all your relationships with everyone.
I can, what? Like I said, that sounds comfortable to me, and that sounds like, yep, you're right. I'm as you're speaking, I'm thinking, yeah.
And the first segment of that is free is also about the birthing process. It's about the conception phase where your parents were. It's about the womb phase. It's about the delivery phase. And all of those phases of that idea of coming into Earth represents the path of your life. Wow. So if, to reprogram that, repattern that, as you go through that womb of even your mother, you're energetically taking on the energy that she carries. And there's a contract in the soul that says you're, carrying out what that bloodline and that lineage is. And so it's about rebirthing yourself.
Right. Right. Yes. And, and I won't even get too much into it, but you're going to kind of understand what I'm saying. We're kind of, my mother and I love her dearly. Okay. But we're kind of here right now because of my awakening, and hasn't gotten there yet. Put it that way. And I won't even go any further than that. So.
Well, you don't have to, because I understand, because I lived with a father like that my whole life that was very religious. I was raised
yes.
in a very religious home.
Yes.
And so for me to come out of the closet with my spirituality and be who I am and to be seen wasn't going to happen, because I was seen for all he wanted me to. My father would put me on a pedestal, and, he'd back me on a lot of things, but he also basically told me I was wrong about everything I believed.
Right. And these questions, I've had questions for a long time about, I too, grew up in a very, religious home, and my mom is still that way. And so when I'm trying to enlighten her and awaken her with certain things, nope. It's a wall put up, and so
what I found was by accepting, like, becoming who I am in spite of what I experienced.
Right.
It allowed me to then begin to see, because at first I didn't feel like, for most of my life, I did not feel like my voice mattered. Right. Because I wasn't heard for what I believed in. And so I didn't have a need to be right. So I just learned to shut up and suppress.
Right.
And I didn't know how to express myself. So I didn't know how to be who I am, or be authentic, or be real. And then we got all the judgment, the persecution that falls behind that, not to mention the religious ordinances that are projected onto us from things that are been passed down, and that's not necessarily being authentic and in your own truth, right? It's about being open enough to be like, what is my truth? What do I see? What is my wisdom? Who am I? Without when you strip away the layers of what everybody said.
Let's stop right there. Even saying things like my truth to people that aren't, or to certain people that aren't awakened, that's enough right there to throw them off track. What do you mean your truth? There's only the truth. So that's where my struggle has been, hey, this is my truth. This is myself. This is my intuition. This is the God in me. What, so.
Exactly. Yes. And for me, like in my truth is that I don't preach a sermon. I live one.
Right.
And, Jesus said, I'm the light, the truth, and the way. Well, we are light beings, and we are waking up to our truth. And as light workers, we're showing people the way. And so we are that embodiment of that Christ consciousness that is not waiting in some separation to get somewhere. This is it. This is now. What are you going to make of it? This is either heaven or earth, or hell. And it is heaven on earth. And we are literally the conduits to bring God into expression of how we are. And God is good and bad. It is dark and light. You've got to have the contrast to find the polarity of the neutrality, I should say, between the polarities of that.
Right.
Because if you don't know one, you can't know the other. And so it's about expanding your emotional intelligence and waking up sides of you by being triggered by all of these things and people and experiences to open up and activate in you the parts of you suppressed, you shut down, you wouldn't see, you wouldn't feel, you wouldn't listen to.
Right.
And until you do, it can't heal.
I have to. Wow, you're just hitting everything on the head. Certain things had to happen to me in my life to, like you said, to awaken me. It had to happen. I mean, I can. The old me would say, oh, I'll regret, this. No, because these things had to happen to stimulate and to cultivate this awakening, this growth. Like, okay,
Mhm.
you know, and I could have took it two ways. I could have sunk further deeper, or I could, like you said, you know, use these things to, like, you know, really get me to look within and follow my intuition and realize who I am, and
Mhm.
woke me up. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm telling you, that's why I'm so excited, because um
Well, that's good, because that's why you're out sharing at the grocery store, you know? You're not
right,
dimming that light anymore, right? You're not putting it
right.
under a bushel.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm excited because I know there are people that I'm experiencing that are going through these experiences, these deep dark experiences, and don't know how to quite get out. You know, they're not using it. They're in the place of the blaming and
Mhm.
sinking deeper and deeper. And I'm like, and I want so bad, but I can't wake anybody up.
Mm-mm.
I can point to certain things and share certain, you know, things, but I can't say,
Mhm.
look, this is supposed to happen. And, you know, everything happens. We choose our parents. We do this. We do. Don't blame. It's you. You know, I've tried, and that's not the right way. I know that's not the right way.
Mhm.
So that's why I said I'm thankful that I'm aware, put it that much.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
still reaching towards my higher self, but I'm thankful that I'm, you know,
Yeah. And that's
it's
a never-ending process, you know?
right,
It
right.
just is. It's like a lot of times in this journey, we think we're trying to get to some destination, and we won't until this life
Oh,
ends. And then it's not going to end, because then, you know, we're going to continue to evolve
continue.
as a soul, right? So why
Right.
not get it right this time, so we can be on the beach next time relaxing, right?
Exactly. Now I do understand that, why people come back and repeat the same thing. You don't get it yet.
Yeah.
You don't
And they
get it.
say, you know, when you reach that mastery of self and you've kind of ascended, that, you know, it becomes more of a choice. Do you choose to come back or not? And I've heard a lot of people say, I'm not coming back. I'm like, I am, because I'm going to come back and have a life that's nothing but grace.
Right. There you go. So am I. Exactly. So that's awesome. So I'm just so thankful that, you know, that you are who you are, and you've awakened to who. Was there a certain point that you can remember? I'm not sure if I asked, I don't want to be redundant, but that you could remember that you just decided to take to that woke you up. Was there a certain thing that happened? I mean, were you always like, I mean, it seems like even from long ago, you had something in there that
Mm.
you knew that was different. But
Yeah.
was it? Yeah. So I
Well,
mean,
both actually. So um there's been, you know, my whole life I knew I was different. I knew
right.
I was creating some kind of balance, because I didn't fit into cliques anywhere, and I loved everyone, and I felt bad for the kids that were made fun of, yet I could get along with the ones that made fun of them. You know, I was just that neutral. I've always been a very neutral person. So I've always recognized that, but I spent most of my life thinking something was wrong with me, you
Right.
know, rather than realizing that these were my gifts and why I came to be here. But the impactful part of my first awakening literally just occurred 24 years ago on October 30th. So just recently, where my cousin and my uncle were killed in a plane crash instantly.
Wow.
And it was the trajectory of the shift of my spiritual awakening for the very first time in a big way, because basically I had just gotten out of chiropractic school and was scared to death to start a practice and do all these things. And all I knew is that I kept living my life in a way that, like, when I get out of school, I can have fun. You know, when I get a practice built up and I get enough money, I can let go and I can relax, right?
Pushing things
When my
off. Yeah.
kids are grown, like, just the
Yes.
list can go on and on and on. And see, I watched my uncle doing that. He was young at 40, and he was, as a young person, he was literally my mentor that I played with, and, you know, I looked up to a lot. And he always dreamed these things, but he never followed through with his
Right.
dreams.
Right.
And so basically, it impacted me in such a way, their death did, that it was a marked moment in my life that I'm like, he did not get to live out his dreams. So in his honor, I'm going to live a life of no regrets. And so since 1997, and I don't know if you saw my social media post, I posted this on the 30th of a tribute to them in a poem that I had wrote back at their 1-year anniversary called A Year of Lessons. And I look at this whole process of, I was writing a book many years ago called Deadly Lessons. And it represented the things they had taught me, in that, from that one experience. But it was my first awakening to realize I want to live a life that is meaningful and fulfilling, and I can enjoy it. And I don't want to regret all these things or wait. Why wait?
Right.
So as I was waking up, and then I started having all these knowings and these feelings, then I would, and it's funny you say that, because one of my biggest words and things that is said to me is when the students rated the teacher peers, like I heard that through Wayne Dyer.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Wayne
so
Dyer.
he's been
I love
my
Wayne Dyer.
mentor since 1997. He passed a few years ago. I've met him a couple of times. The first time I ever met him here in St. Louis, I think it was in 2003 or 4. I said to him out of nowhere, it was my higher self talking, I know now, because it haunted me for years to say, as long as I'm living, your work will never die. And
Right.
I was like, going like, why would I say that? And I was actually quite embarrassed, honestly, because I'm like,
Right.
it's the first words that came out of my mouth, but I know what that words means now.
Right.
And he and his Zen-like presence, when he put his hands in Namaste prayer position, bowed his head.
Right.
And when he finally spoke, he said, I'm glad to hear you won't be dying with your music still in you. And so I got to work with him on Writing from the Soul a couple months before he actually passed back in 2015, I believe it was. And basically, such an inspiration in my life, such an impact of like, it's not that I learned everything from him.
Right.
And I did later, but it was like this awakening and knowing in myself that I could feel things, know things. And then he would come along and support what I knew in words that like blew me away, that like, be like, are you in my head? And I did the same thing with the Oprah shows during that timeline. I would be,
he talked to Oprah a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like with like her message, like for years, every week she'd have a message on her show or whatever. And I would be like, well, I was just thinking about doing that in my chiropractic office, because I would teach all these classes and do inspiration. And that's how I built a chiropractic practice back in those days.
Right.
But I was be like, I just had that thought or just had this. And then she's going live with this thing, of this big show. And I'm like, well, I can do that, this is like, I have that inside of me. And it was always this thing inside of me too. Like, in fact, I've been called the White Oprah before, but
good.
Funny thing is I even had dreams about like, I'm going to be on her show. And, a lot of people have, and, that's yet to happen, but who knows? Right.
I felt that way about meeting Louise Hay, and then she passed, and it really affected me when she passed, because I was like, I saw myself talking to her. I really did. And she, she passed him. I was like, wow, I remember that whole day. Yeah. But go ahead. Yeah.
Well, it's amazing though, how like back to your question, my wake up, that was a marked experience, but as we evolve, we go through layers and layers and layers of rebirthing, it's just that when we start the original wake up, sometimes it takes, especially back in the timeline of 97, we were in a different energy collectively. So it would take years to go through things and to shed things and to create awarenesses and to create breakthroughs and integrate all this stuff and process it and create greater awarenesses. Right. But now when I work with people now, they're doing in like 2 months what I did in 20 years,
Right.
And it just blows me away.
We're in a different time. We're in a different shift. Different energy.
Different vibration. And everything's set up, the frequency is higher, moving on with that fifth dimensional energy. And our frequency of our inner soul is at a higher state naturally. That's why we have the pandemic right now.
Right.
Because we have this new earth that we went up in ascension. We anchored in that light, and we've brought it in, and we've shifted even from 2-stranded DNA to 12-stranded DNA to hold more light inside of us. We're the antenna anchoring it into the earth, like little, we are like doing acupuncture to the earth with our being on earth, doing grid
Right.
work to heal the earth.
Right.
And so from that fifth dimensional energy into the earth, the 3D earth had raised in 2019 in March, it raised to a fifth dimensional earth. So in that fifth dimensional earth, it is the new earth that the Bible talks about. And in fact, the timeline that I had predicted this back then, the Schumann's resonance, which is, the frequency of the frequency of the earth that's measured scientifically,
Right.
that had spiked to its all-time high that particular day. And so then from there, because the earth plane's frequency is higher, you cannot have a low vibration live in a high frequency. Right. Because it's that light is going to shine and illuminate on that shadow and purge all of what's not working out. Right.
That's what's,
So the whole earth is getting a wake up call right now, one way or another, because the earth itself is fifth dimensional, and anything of lower than that in a person cannot live in the 3D world.
Yes.
So we're shifting all of that.
I get it. Yep. And that's beautiful. Wow. And I like how you put it, pandemic. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I get it. Yep. Nope, not me. No. Yeah, amazing. And I know you have so much more to share. And you know what? We're gonna talk even off of here and get you back on again. And like I said, I want to get your husband, your twin flame, on here. And I want you guys to talk and tell me if you want to, when you come on again, you want it to be you two or just him, or however you want to do it. I'm open. I'm open, however you want to do it, because I know it's going to be amazing no matter what.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to talk to you again, because I know you have so much more to share. And wow, just, you made my job so much easier. And I don't even think of this as a job. This is not a job. This is, like I said, this was a conversation, and I felt like a student at the same time. Learning. I love learning, and just, wow, I can listen to you. I could just listen to you all day. And and it's not a coincidence. The only other person that I've thus far said I can just continue to listen to was Louise Hay. I can listen to her all night long. Man, I just love listening to Louise Hay. If she has a segment that says 8 hours, I could sit there and put it on and just relax and listen to her speak. And it's just amazing, because I know it's just going to be, everything's going to be, and I'll trust myself to fall asleep, because I know that anything she's putting in that subconscious mind of mine is going to be food for my soul. I already know it. So beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Dr. Harmony. And before we go, okay, how can people find you, get a hold of you, see, connect with your programs, anything like that? And I'm going to make sure that everything's included in the description. But while we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. My website is twinflameexpert.com. And all of my programs, and I also have team members now, and my twin flame is on there that also does and helps people through different programs as well. In fact, the ReBoot program we talked about, people that went through my program, they are actually teaching, and I've trained people to do and carry that program out as well. And we can talk about this some other time, but I'm also shifting into I have a 6-figure lightworker blueprint where I help people basically do that and unlock their purpose and get into that. So you can check out more information about that as well on my website. I have a YouTube channel that I do weekly shows, and I have different speakers that come on there to speak for empowerment that's on my team, as well as astrology. My twin flame and I do a series of things, and then I have different energy reports and different information that I can help you. And I got a plethora of, playlists and things that can help assist there. All my platforms on social media are Twin Flame Expert, and the link will also be below for the Reprogram Your Childhood Wounds, which is an online course that you can check it out and get that first module for free.
Wow, amazing. And I resonate with that, the childhood wounds as well. And I'm sure a lot of people will resonate and connect with that as well. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, and I look forward to connecting with you and your twin flame.
Thank you.
Just amazing. This was an amazing conversation. Amazing. Thank you. Enlightening. True meaning of enlightened, empowered, evolved. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and I'll see you soon.